helping 107. No government ever voluntarily reduces itself in size. So government programs once launched never disappear. Actually, a government bureau is the nearest thing to eternal life we'll ever see on this earth. These proliferating bureaus with their thousands of regulations have cost us many of our constitutional safeguards. How many of us realize that today federal agents can invade a man's property without a warrant? They can impose a fine without a formal hearing, let alone a trial by jury, and they can seize and sell his property at auction to enforce the payment of that fine. What does it mean whether you hold the deed to or the title to your business or property if the government holds the power of life and death over that business or property? And every businessman has his own tale of harassment, and freedom has never been so fragile, so close to slipping from our grasp as it is at this moment. They say we offer simple answers to complex problems. Well, perhaps there is a simple answer. Not an easy answer, but simple. There is no foundation like the rock of honesty and fairness. And when you begin to build your life on that rock, with the cement of the faith in God that you have, then you have a real start. This is not a man who could carelessly send other people's sons to war. And that is the issue of this campaign that makes all the other problems I've discussed academic. If you and I have the courage to tell our elected officials that we want our national policy based on what we know in our hearts is morally right, we cannot buy our security, our freedom from the threat of the bomb. I wonder who among us would like to approach the wife or mother, husband or son has died in South Vietnam and ask them if they think this is a peace that should be maintained indefinitely. Do they mean peace, or do they mean we just want to be left in peace? There can be no real peace while one American is dying someplace in the world for the rest of us. Opponents seem unwilling to debate these issues. They want to make you and I believe that this is a contest between two men, that we're to choose just between two personalities. Well, what of this man that they would destroy? And in destroying, they would destroy that which he represents, the ideas that you and I hold dear. Is he the brash and shallow and trigger-happy man they say he is? Well, I've been privileged to know him when. I knew him long before he ever dreamed of trying for high office. And I can tell you personally, I've never known a man in my life I believed so incapable of doing a dishonest or dishonorable act.
All about freedom, prosperity, and peace. I can assure you that life begins at conception. Roe versus Wade must be reversed. The Constitution was written very precisely to restrain the power and force of government and to protect the liberties of each and every one of us, to provide for a strong national defense. If you look at every single problem we're facing today, it's because of the lack of respect for the rule of law and the Constitution. The answers can be found in the return to the rule of law and a strict interpretation of the Constitution. I think 9/11, quite frankly, could have been prevented if we had had a lot more respect for the Second Amendment. One of the most important choices that we should have, and we're allowing it to slip away, is the freedom of choice to educate our children. What we need is a restatement so make sure that homeschoolers and private schools are never attacked by our government. We have allowed our nation to be overtaxed and overregulated and overrun by bureaucrats. The founders would be ashamed of us for what we're putting up with. How many years ago has it been since the Republican Party stood for getting rid of the Department of Education and getting rid of the Department of Energy? Where are we on that? And that means getting rid of the IRS and repealing the 16th Amendment. The Constitution doesn't provide for a central national bank, doesn't even provide for a Federal Reserve system. We do not any longer have national sovereignty. We have referred too much to the United Nations, the IMF, the World Bank, and the WTO, the NAFTA and the CAFTA agreements, and they should not be part of our system. We have a chance to do something this campaign and in this election. We can continue the way we've been going, accumulate more and more big government, assume that the people won't take care of themselves, but it's coming to an end. And we're dumping on the laps of these young people who are upset about what we're giving them, and we need to change it. Now, there's something happening now. It's not going to play anymore because the country is going bankrupt. We can't run the war, and we can't run our domestic spending without borrowing $2.5 billion every single day, most of it coming from, unbelievably, the Chinese. If we do nothing, it will come to an end. If we do something, it will not be easy because changing plans and changing efforts is always difficult. I want to do this. I do not want to run your life, your family, or your religious beliefs. I do not want to run the economy, and I do not want to police the world. I don't know how. I don't have the authority, and it doesn't work. Join us in this great campaign for freedom and liberty. Thank you very much.